In the heart of Central Asia stands a city that has seen caravans, conquerors, scholars, merchants, and empires pass through its gates. Samarkand, in southeastern Uzbekistan, is not just an old city. It is one of the great urban survivors of Eurasian history. For thousands of years, it has sat near the meeting point of worlds, China to the east, Persia to the southwest, the steppe to the north, and Europe far beyond the western trade routes. Its importance came from geography, but its endurance came from something deeper. Samarkand repeatedly changed rulers, languages of administration, architectural styles, and political identities, yet it kept its role as a place where cultures mixed rather than simply replaced one another. To understand Samarkand is to understand how cities can become crossroads, not for a moment, but for centuries. The region around Samarkand shows signs of human activity reaching back to the late Paleolithic period, which means people were present in the area long before written history gives us names, dynasties, or borders. The exact date when Samarkand was founded remains uncertain, but many theories place its beginnings around the 8th or 7th century BC. That makes it one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Central Asia. This matters because Samarkand was not a planned capital built overnight by a single ruler. It grew over time, shaped by settlement, trade, agriculture, and contact with neighboring peoples. Its long continuity gave it layers. Beneath the famous monuments and later Islamic architecture lies a much older story of oasis life, regional power, and adaptation in a landscape where water, routes, and fertile land determined survival. Long before modern Uzbekistan existed, Samarkand was part of the Iranian cultural world of Central Asia. It became a principal urban center of Persian Tajik civilization and was closely linked with Sogdiana, a historic region famous for trade, diplomacy, and urban culture. Under the Achaemenid Persian Empire, Samarkand served as the capital of the Sogdian satrapy. A satrapy was an imperial province, and being its capital meant the city had administrative, commercial, and strategic value. The Sogdians were especially important as middlemen in long-distance trade. They connected peoples who did not share languages, religions, or political systems. Samarkand's early identity was therefore not isolated or provincial. It was already plugged into a wider world, where merchants, officials, and travelers carried goods, ideas, and customs across enormous distances. Samarkand's location made it one of the great cities of the Silk Road. The Silk Road was not one single road, but a network of routes linking China, Persia, India, the steppe, the Middle East, and Europe. Cities along these routes became valuable because they offered more than markets. They provided storage, protection, finance, translation, lodging, and political negotiation. Samarkand prospered because it stood between major civilizations and helped connect them. Silk, spices, metals, paper, textiles, horses, ceramics, and luxury goods moved through this world, but so did technologies, religious ideas, artistic styles, and scientific knowledge. At times, Samarkand became one of the largest and most important cities in Central Asia. Its wealth was not simply local wealth. It was the wealth of movement, exchange, and being necessary to everyone passing through. In 329 BC, Samarkand entered the story of Alexander the Great. When Alexander conquered the city, it was known to the Greeks as Marakanda. This conquest connected Samarkand to the Hellenistic world, but it did not erase its deeper regional identity. Alexander's campaigns pushed Greek influence into Central Asia, yet cities like Samarkand remained places of mixture rather than simple colonies. Local Iranian traditions, imperial Persian legacies, Greek military power, and Central Asian realities all overlapped. The city's capture also shows why Samarkand mattered strategically. Alexander was not interested in insignificant places. Marakanda was worth taking because it controlled routes, resources, and prestige in a difficult frontier region. From this point onward, Samarkand's history would repeatedly follow this pattern. A powerful empire arrives, takes the city, and becomes part of its story, while the city continues. Over the following centuries, Samarkand was ruled by a succession of Iranian and Turkic powers. This political turnover is essential to understanding the city. Samarkand did not belong permanently to one dynasty, ethnicity, or empire. It was a prize because it was useful, prestigious, and wealthy. Since the 11th century, the city has been under Turkic and Uzbek political control in various forms, yet its culture and dominant urban language remained strongly Persian for a very long time. This creates a distinction that is easy to miss. Political control and cultural identity are not always the same thing. A ruler may command a city, but the language of poetry, scholarship, family life, trade, or urban memory can follow different patterns. Samarkand's identity was built from that tension between power and culture. In 1220, Samarkand was conquered by the Mongols under Genghis Khan. Across Central Asia, the Mongol invasions were devastating, and major cities could face destruction, depopulation, and economic collapse. For a city built on trade and urban life, conquest by a steppe empire could be catastrophic. Yet Samarkand survived and later revived. This survival is part of what makes the city remarkable. Many places can flourish during peace, but only a few can recover after violent imperial disruption and return to importance. The Mongol conquest changed political realities across Eurasia, but it also eventually created new networks of movement under Mongol rule. Samarkand's ability to re-emerge shows how deeply rooted its urban function was. Its value did not vanish because one dynasty fell or one empire burned through the region. Samarkand's most famous transformation came in the 14th century, when Timur made it the capital of his empire. Timur, known in the West as Tamerlane, built one of the most powerful empires of his age, and he used Samarkand as a showcase of imperial ambition. Capitals are never just administrative centers. They are statements. By investing in Samarkand, Timur turned the city into a symbol of power, legitimacy, and cultural magnificence. Artisans, scholars, builders, and craftsmen were drawn or brought there from across conquered lands. The result was a city associated with monumental architecture and refined artistic production. Timur's own mausoleum, the Gur-e, became one of Samarkand's defining landmarks. It was not only a tomb. It was a message carved in tile, geometry, scale, and memory. The Timurid period helped make Samarkand a center of Islamic scholarly study and the birthplace of what is often called the Timurid Renaissance. This was a cultural flowering in which architecture, astronomy, mathematics, literature, manuscript production, and religious learning all gained prestige. Samarkand's importance during this period was not only military or commercial. It became intellectual. Cities on trade routes often become places of knowledge because they collect people and texts from different regions. Scholars need patrons, libraries, institutions, and audiences. Samarkand could provide these because its rulers wanted prestige and its networks brought talent. The Timurid Renaissance reminds us that Central Asia was not a remote edge of civilization. At key moments, it was a center of scientific, artistic, and religious life that influenced the broader Islamic world. Some of Samarkand's most recognizable landmarks express this legacy in stone and tile. The Registan was the ancient center of the city and remains its most famous public space, framed by three monumental religious buildings. Its scale and symmetry make it one of the iconic architectural ensembles of the Islamic world. The Bibi-Khanym Mosque, later rebuilt during the Soviet era, is another major symbol of Samarkand's imperial past. These monuments are not just beautiful backdrops. They reveal how architecture functioned as education, propaganda, devotion, and urban planning at the same time. A square like the Registan organized public life. A mosque like Bibi-Khanym projected piety and imperial wealth. Together, they made Samarkand visually unforgettable and helped preserve its identity across centuries of political change. Samarkand also preserved traditions that are less monumental but just as important: embroidery, goldwork, silk weaving, copper engraving, ceramics, wood carving, and wood painting. These crafts connect the city's grand history to everyday skill. Empires rise and fall, but workshops, family techniques, markets, and local aesthetics can carry memory in quieter ways. Craft traditions also reflect Samarkand's Silk Road position. Materials, patterns, colors, and methods often move across regions, then become localized in the hands of artisans. A ceramic design or embroidered textile may contain traces of Persian taste, Turkic patronage, Islamic geometry, and Central Asian household culture all at once. In 2001, UNESCO added Samarkand to the World Heritage List as Samarkand, Crossroads of Cultures. That title is unusually accurate. The city's heritage is not one influence, but the meeting of many. Modern Samarkand is divided between the Old City and the New City. The Old City contains monuments, shops, and older private houses, while the New City developed during the Russian Empire and Soviet period, with administrative buildings, cultural centers, and educational institutions. This split shows that Samarkand is not frozen in the age of Timur. It is a living city with more than 500,000 inhabitants, modern politics, schools, infrastructure, and public life. Its language situation also reflects its layered past. Uzbek is the official language, Russian remains widely used in public life, and some residents are bilingual speakers of Turkic, a Persian language tied to the city's older cultural identity. Samarkand hosted the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in 2022, proving that it still plays a diplomatic role. After thousands of years, Samarkand remains what it has always been, a meeting place. If you found this helpful, please like this video and subscribe for more explainers.